Hi everybody, welcome back to the Standing Citizen channel. So if you talk to anybody over the age of maybe 65 years old, there's a high likelihood that they recall exactly where they were 57 years ago today. That was the day our country lost a leader. We lost our president, John F. Kennedy. You know, for me, I do have another instance in my life, being younger than 65 years old, where I'll always remember exactly where I was when a certain event occurred. And that was 19 years ago. For those of you who have been following this little Standing Citizen program, I was talking about the Federal Election Commission. I saw an interview with the chairman of the FEC, which I cited in, this campaign finance reform quagmire that we're going to be solving, okay? That FEC chair stated in the interview that, he has great concerns just about how it was handled. And he wasn't even talking about the voting machines or the software that was run on these particular voting machines. He was talking about things that occurred that were not in good faith. He used the word illegitimate election. I mean, how is it that we're getting ourselves in a position where we have anybody talking about an election being illegitimate? So this is my second attempt at getting this message out. I did some filming about 4 days ago, and honestly, I kind of just decided I needed to do a mulligan. Everybody in this world, we do kind of deserve a mulligan. For our elected officials, a lot of times, they pull that card and maybe refer to it as plausible deniability. And we've kind of allowed that to, just fly for a long time. I'm not sure if that was the right decision that we made. Right now what we're dealing with, is a little bit over 2.5 weeks past this election. There's a lot of unfortunate circumstances. When I say that, I'm simply just interacting with people and trying to get people's opinions on what's going on. Our election integrity is suffering dearly right now. And ironically, that's been proven to me to be suffering by people that are on both sides of this two-party system that we've been herded into. 4 days ago, when I decided to first do this little video after work, before I went to work, I got my hair cut, and the woman who cut my hair, she happened to have been a lifelong member of the party that won, I guess. She straight up told me that she was not interested in voting in this country anymore because she was so disgusted. So we as a country, we would be adding her to that huge chunk historically of our citizens who are eligible to vote but decide to not partake in the system. And that's unfortunate. The majority of those people, through my research, are sick of the same old, and they think it's a joke. It's a stain on our democracy when our own citizens feel that way, people. We should strive to fix it. In other countries, and I believe most countries in the world, voting is compulsory. It is mandated. It is required. You as a citizen are presented your 1, 2, 3 potential candidates, and you are required to vote. There is no freedom of choice to not vote. In America, we value freedom, civil liberties, individual rights. We have the choice to defer our civic duty. So it's up to each individual citizen whether or not they choose to participate in our election process. But at the same time, it's a bummer when we have a number of people that are so disenfranchised by the system that they don't bother to do it anymore. With regarding what the news we've been hearing, and it's obviously hit and miss, and I don't know the accuracies of any of this. About these voting machines and this software that's running these voting machines. I read an article about the head or some sort of representative of this voting machine company saying how his machine it's physically impossible for his machine to not count or change or swap votes or whatever it is. I mean, of course he's telling the truth. I know enough about software, being a integration electrical guy. His machine is doing nothing but running some sort of a software that some human had to code, type it in there. I mean, his machines don't fly either. But if I were to take one of his machines up to the roof of this building and throw it for distance, a lot of people would stand back and say, damn, that thing's flying, until it hit the ground and broke. You know, when I learn about the amount of money that we as taxpayers spend on these voting machines, on the software, the contracts that go along with it all, the support, it's huge amounts of money, people. You know, what do we know about money and wealth? Government spends money that it either A, takes from you previously via taxes, or B, puts you on the hook for in future taxes. I mean, I guess you can say that C, they just print it up and pretend like it's just created out of thin air. Certainly that's been a problem that we've also dealt with. But primarily those are going to be the two ways that a government spends money. You know, when I hear that there was in upwards of 30 states that spent huge chunks of money on this voting software and this voting machine programs and these leasing fees from this company. And then I hear about, like, for instance, the state of Texas, where the Secretary of State for Texas said, you know, we want nothing to do with this software program for our elections. They identified multiple concerns that they had. You know, kudos to you in Texas, all you people there, because at least you aren't having to deal with this, what many parts of the country are going through right now. Although at the same time, you are 100% dealing with it. Because once again, we are a union of states. You know, I'd be interested to be a fly on the wall in a room where the decision maker in Texas discussed with the decision makers of all these counties throughout our country, or these other secretaries of state who decided that this was an acceptable program, an acceptable machine, and of course, the software that the machine runs. Well, I'm sure that Secretary of State would probably say something to the effect of, all you people had to do was just look at my report. You would have seen that I have concerns, and they're not unfounded concerns. Instead, our country is now bleeding out because of this. Now more people aren't going to want to vote because of this, like the woman who cut my hair. As I've attempted to slowly get this thing off the ground and get my message out or my vision out, whatever it is, you're aware that I told you that we're going to use this to solve many problems. That we're going to use this that we need to keep an open mind. And as things come up, we need to pretty much figure out if we can play whack-a-mole with them. If this resource that we're going to have in our fist, this newly found position of power, if we can solve the problem effectively with it, we need to do it. Because one thing's for sure is that these people that we've hired to make these decisions, they've forgotten their job descriptions. Or for me, what I can say is that historically, our elected officials, they love that term plausible deniability. Plausible deniability, that doesn't exist in the private sector. We need to get out the incompetent people that are making these decisions and putting us in these situations. Because either A, they're simply incompetent, or B, they're dumb, or C, they have ulterior motives. It's one of the three. We're going to have to add this to our to-do list, okay? Which is perfectly fine. When I sit here and look at the numbers that were spent on these machines, the amount of money that we're spending, the amount of money that we're on the hook for, we can 100% do this better ourselves. I'm 100% positive. And we would do it a hell of a lot cheaper too. We need to make sure that every one of our citizens knows that their voice is heard. We can't have people talking like the woman who cut my hair, because no matter what party people typically follow or are a part of or support throughout their lives, they love America. They love the United States of America. There's people on both sides of this two-party aisle that are now disgusted in this situation. We're going to now have to solve this voting counting problem as well, because it's not a problem that we want to deal with. You know, it reminds me also of a quote by the Supreme Leader Joseph Stalin out of the Soviet USSR. And I'm paraphrasing here, but the way that he put it was, it does not matter who the people vote for, it only matters who counts the votes. I knew this. I'm sure all you people did too. But what we've witnessed here is un-American. We have issues that we need to recognize, and we need to just simply decide to fix them. Because the whole idea of plausible deniability by these decision makers, that's got to stop. The whole word politician, I want to see a replacement term for that. No joke. Guys and gals, I want each and every one of you to have confidence. And I want each and every one of you to have opportunity to better yourselves. And be proud to be an American, not embarrassed. Okay? Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon. Take some time and remember what happened 57 years ago today. Thank you. Bye.